Polymath, very known across history as master of all trades. People that learn how to master many skills, right? No. People that learn how to master everything. YouTube is filled with thousands of videos about Polymath, but most of all are focused only in the mindset that they believe about Polymath, and they are pretty vague about the practical things. And if you are watching this video, it's because, like me, you want to become one of these master of all trades. This is a practical guide with a deep dive into actionable things. I will show you a framework to learn how to choose the right skills, how much skills to learn, and how much time dedicate to each one. Real acceleration learning techniques to learn faster and better. And finally, a system that will help you to make it stick, making your discipline effortless. All these leverage with carefully crafted AI prompts that I'm going to give you for free across this guide to help you to make your journey to become a master of all these trades so addictive that feels like a video game. It's very common when you start learning many things to question about what should I learn first. That's what we build the PHI framework. One passion, one hobby, one interest. Discipline is something that we really love. It's something that we like so much that the discipline becomes easier. And here is when we are going to spend the majority of our time. For example, in my case, I feel that content creation is my passion because I can spend hours with no pressure. Scripting, recording, editing, making storytelling, all this in a state that you feel the time moves slower. Hobbies is something that you want and you like, but doesn't feel so effortless as your passion. That's why it needs more discipline. For example, in my case, my hobby is learning languages, but it doesn't feel so easier as content creation. That's why I need to put more discipline to get the things done. Interest is something that you are a bit interested, but you don't want to spend so many time on this interest because you have your passion and your hobbies. So consider this as a side quest, something that you will do if you have a free weekend. For example, in my case, I like to make origami figures, but this doesn't represent something big in my life. This is how a PHI for beginners should look like. One passion, one hobby, one interest. But don't get me wrong, obviously you can add more passions, hobbies, and interests. This is a PHI for beginners. Actually, my PHI look like this. Alright, you have the skill that you want to learn, but it's going to take too much time in the normal way. And Polymath are not normal people. That's why I'm going to teach you the 3 most powerful techniques to learn anything faster and better. Only the 20% of your effort is equivalent to the 80% of your result. Wilfredo Pareto. In simple words, it means that you can reach that 80% of mastery just by learning that specific 20%. The best way to explain this is with languages. In my case with Japanese, it means that if I learn that 20% of the grammar patterns, daily usage words, common kanjis, I can reach that the 80% of the mastery of the language in a record time. Okay, but how can I find that 20% that I need to learn? Here is when AI knock the door. I made for you a prompt where you only need to insert your goal, and the AI is going to find that 20% that you need to put your focus. The prompt is in the link below. But before you go, I am begging you to stay for the next technique, because it's one of those game changers that are gonna help you to learn faster and better. The quickest way to learn better is finding somebody that is better than you and do exactly what he does. This means finding somebody that have already learned what you're looking for, but in a record time, and find a way to learn from them. This means coaching, mentorship, reverse engineering. For example, in my case, I'm learning 2 languages at the same time. So applying this rule, we'll be finding somebody that have already studied 2 languages at the same time too, and find a way to learn from them. Quick thing that I almost forget, guys. Just go to YouTube. Right, how I learn is your desired skill. I watch of those videos of people learning something in record time and try to adapt their style of learning into your own style of learning. And remember, we are not copying, we are just trying to adapt what it works. I know your attention span sucks, but please, stay for the last technique because it's the most powerful of the 3. And it's the way that I'm learning many things right now with crazy results. If you're learning anything that involves the software like Photoshop, Premiere Pro, Lovable, this technique is a complete game changer. But before learning explaining, instead of going into the tutorial phase, clearly play or start building, and only look for tutorial across your curiosity drive into new challenges that you can overcome by yourself with your current level. For example, you want to learn Photoshop. Instead of watch ton of tutorials about how to learn Photoshop, just open Photoshop and start editing a new image. And if, for example, you want to make an image black and white, just look how to make an image black and white in Photoshop. You want to make it bigger, just look how to resize an image in Photoshop. This is like when you start playing a new video game. You don't start looking at a lot of tutorial about this video game, just start playing. And only if you find a boss that is too difficult to overcome by yourself, you start looking how to fix X boss in C video game. Alright, we have learned how to choose the right skills and how to learn faster. But Polymath have unstoppable discipline. They understand that becoming a master of all trades is not an overnight process. They stick with the process. I want to tell you the classic speech about writing and discipline. This is a practical guide. Instead, I'm going to show you a carefully created system that's gonna help you to make the discipline effortless and stick with the process across the year, helping you to learn anything. Let me introduce you into the AMRD system. Big goal feels too hard to achieve for a mere human like us. That's why our mission is to deconstruct it into short-term goals that looks more achievable. In my case with Japanese, my goal is learning Japanese, but my micro goal is learning katakana and hiragana alphabet, being able to recognize a few words. It doesn't look so hard, right? That's the magic of the micro goals, because you are breaking the big goal into smaller steps that looks more achievable, making the discipline to achieve it easier. After we set up our micro goal, it's time to set up our learning routine. There is no a routine that fits for everyone, but following the case of my Japanese, my routine could look like that. I dedicate from Monday to Friday around 1 hour of learning Japanese, 30 minutes to learn hiragana and katakana alphabet, and 20 minutes recognizing words to try to understand better not only the alphabet, but also how the words a grammar partner works. This routine makes learning Japanese more look like a chill afternoon or studying instead of a big goal impossible to achieve. This is key that doesn't stop learning the same thing for months. We need to set up a deadline. And most important, we need to set up a test to apply your knowledge. Keeping the example with Japanese and hiragana and katakana, this test could look like that. Reading a paragraph with 5 lines in hiragana and katakana, with a deadline of 50 days. Alright, this is how my MRD system looks like for Japanese. My micro goal of learn hiragana and katakana, with a routine of 30 minutes of hiragana and katakana, plus 30 minutes of reading and recognizing basic words, with a deadline of 50 days, with a test of read a 5-line paragraph. I know making all this by yourselves can be overwhelming. That is why I create a prompt that you only need to paste into any AI, and it's going to create your own MRD system in just a few minutes. Okay, before you go, it's time for a recap. Across this practical guide, you have learned how to choose the right skills with the PHI framework, how to learn anything faster with the 80-20 shadowing, apply before to learn rule, and how to become disciplined as fuck and stick with the process with the MRD system. So you have the knowledge. It's time to take action, my dear superhuman.